The third season begins 3 months after the Westworld massacre, and Dolores feigns a fake identity in Beihai, China to locate and befriend Gerald, one of the former shareholders in Delos. After she manages to have Gerald sign over confidential files regarding an AI company called Insight, he tries to kill her but ends up dying himself. After that, Dolores leaves to find Liam Dempsey Jr., the son of the co-founder of Insight, since she believes he could help her access the sophisticated AI. On the other hand, we are introduced to Caleb, a former soldier who lost his close friend Francis in combat and still struggles with the trauma. Since he isn't able to get a good job, he ends up working for a construction company. In his free time, he accepts petty crime jobs from the Rico app, which allows individuals to accept short-term illegal work using blockchain technology, such as robbing ATMs, transporting illegal items, kidnapping, etc. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, the Charlotte host assumes charge of the Delos board as William is missing and decides to continue the production of hosts for the parks. The Charlotte host has pinned the entire Westworld massacre on Bernard, who is on the run and living at a farm under a new name. When a few people recognize him, he fights back when they attack him and decides to return to the Westworld. On the other hand, Dolores manages to befriend Liam so she can get acquainted with the strategic AI called Rehoboam, an important part of the world's public policy. Liam tells her that his late father never shared the codes with him, but the co-founder must know them. Before he can tell her his name, the head of security, Martin, walks in and stuns her, revealing that she used a stolen identity. Martin intends to kill her by using the Rico app to request a stolen vehicle and lethal substances. Shortly after, Caleb arrives, having accepted the job. He questions the unconscious woman but is ordered to walk away. Later, when Dolores wakes up, she kills Martin's men but gets shot in the process. When she corners Martin, he gives up the name of the co-founder of Insight, Serac. Moments later, a host copy of Martin created by Dolores walks in and kills the original Martin. Meanwhile, Caleb returns just in time to aid Dolores as she passes out due to blood loss. In the end, Maeve wakes up in a World War II-themed park and a tied-up soldier nearby. In the second episode, Hector rescues Maeve while they evade Nazi guards. When Maeve realizes that Hector is just playing out a narrative and does not remember her, she kills herself and ends up back in operations. Just as she is about to lobotomize herself, Lee stops her. He reveals that he survived the shooting and had Maeve brought to Warworld, as it was the nearest theme park to the Forge in Westworld, in the hopes that she can find her way back to her daughter Anna. Meanwhile, Bernard returns to the Westworld and heads to the old lab, where he finds Ashley, who reveals that he was programmed to facilitate Bernard's escape and subsequently self-destruct to protect Bernard's secret. However, he missed his explosive kill switch, leaving him in this state. Bernard quickly fixes him up, and they head to Mesa to find Maeve, who Bernard believes is pivotal to taking down Dolores. However, at the operations, they find Maeve's host in the storage unit without her core pearl, which is no longer in the park. Before they escape from the Delos guards, Bernard checks the park systems to ensure Dolores does not corrupt his own code when she creates a new body for him. He notices that Dolores has researched past park guests, including Liam Dempsey Jr., after which Bernard and his newly programmed bodyguard, Ashley, leave for the mainland. In the next scene, Maeve looks for Lee when she wakes up in the Westworld, and together they get to the Forge, where Lee learns that it wasn't Maeve who activated the door but Dolores. With Lee's questioning and behavior, Maeve and Lee himself realize that he isn't the real Lee Sizemore, who must have died during the shooting. Maeve then discovers that the operations is a sophisticated virtual reality simulation and has its limited processing power, so she manages to freeze everything by overloading the system and tries to find her pearl in the real world, but guards kill the maintenance host she recruited to retrieve it. In the next scene, Maeve wakes up in a real-world host body in Engeron Serac's home, who tells her that until recently, Rehoboam, his system to write humanity's future, was working just fine. He realizes that it was not Maeve but Dolores who caused the divergence and asks for Maeve's help to take Dolores down. Maeve doesn't want to be involved, so she tries to stab him, but he freezes her in her tracks with a kill switch. The third episode opens with the Charlotte host struggling with her new identity. She learns that Serac was trying to take over Delos through a mole within the company, which was the late human Charlotte. She was trying to smuggle the guest's data over to him, which is now with Dolores behind an encryption key. On the other hand, Caleb aids EMTs in taking Dolores to a hospital hospital, but he notices he is being followed by people from the Rico system he protects. Dolores advises him to go into hiding, so he visits his mother for one last time as he realizes he is now a wanted target in the Rico system. Shortly after, two Rico criminals capture him with the intent of killing him unless he reveals where Dolores is. Simultaneously, Dolores checks on Caleb via Martin and arrives just in time to save him. Then she reveals how Rehoboam is a predictive AI that can shape humanity's future by controlling every aspect of an individual's life. She shows him how Rehoboam limits his opportunities as it predicts that Caleb will kill himself within 10 years, which is why he is stuck in lowly jobs. Caleb agrees to join her revolution to put an end to Serac and Rehoboam. On the other hand, Charlotte accesses the human Charlotte's recordings, and she realizes she has to pick up her son Nathan. She recognizes a melody in the recordings that leads her to unlock an unlisted number, which automatically reroutes her vehicle to Serac's residence. When she fails to hand over all the smuggled data that human Charlotte had promised Serac, he warns Charlotte that her time is running out. In the 4th episode, William is still traumatized by nightmares of killing Emily, his daughter in Westworld. When Charlotte wakes him up and asks for his help to stop Serac from buying out Delos, cleans himself up for the Delos board meeting. Before they leave, he has another vision of Emily, whom he tells that he killed her purposefully. Charlotte hints she knows about these visions of his daughter, which leaves him shocked. Meanwhile, Bernard and Ashley crash a private charity event in Los Angeles to capture Liam, whom Bernard believes is a host, courtesy of Dolores. On the other hand, Dolores and Caleb empty Liam's funds, which Liam realizes at the masquerade party. Shortly after, he is abducted by Bernard, who realizes that he is not a host. Just then, Caleb and Dolores show up, with the prior chasing Liam and Bernard, while Dolores fights with Ashley. Martin and Liam's bodyguards show up, and when Martin kills the guards, Bernard realizes he is the swapped host. On the other hand, Serac convinces Maeve to help him as Dolores has the encryption key to the Sublime, and he will help her reconnect with her daughter. Serac knows Dolores took 5 host control modules or pearls with her, and using his connections with an identity broker, he leads Maeve to an organ trade doctor with ties to the Yakuza. When Maeve meets the Yakuza leader Sato, she recognizes him from the Shogun world. At this point, Maeve, Bernard, and William all realize that before leaving the Westworld, Dolores made copies of herself and put those in Charlotte, Sato, and Martin hosts. Next, Sato Dolores asks Maeve to duplicate herself if she doesn't want Serac hurting her, after which she wounds her critically, while Charlotte has William checked into a mental asylum after telling him that she is Dolores. In the end, Martin brings Bernard to meet Caleb, who has Liam cornered. Soon, they are joined by Dolores, whom Liam remembers as Lara, the false identity Dolores took on to trick him. In the next episode, Serac has a flashback about how he created the Rehoboam with the intention of saving humanity from destroying itself. When he and his brother Jean-Mi saw the destruction of Paris by a nuclear blast, the brothers created a system to control and predict human behavior so they could intervene timely before such individuals destroyed the world. When they joined hands with Liam Dempsey Sr., they realized he wanted to use the model to make money. When Rehoboam pointed out Jean as one of the high-risk individuals who could disrupt the future, Serac had him secured in a secret facility as per protocol and lied to Dempsey that Jean was planning on killing Dempsey. After that, Serac killed Dempsey himself and staged his demise in a plane crash. Back to the present, Serac controls governments by sharing information from the Rehoboam. On the other hand, Dolores and Caleb bring Liam to a safe spot while they are pursued by Serac's guards. Next, Dolores has Liam hand over his private key to access Rehoboam so they can escape easily, and they are joined by Ash and Giggles, Caleb's associates. The key also allows Bernard and Martin to access Rehoboam at Insight headquarters. Using the key, Martin sends Serac's records to Dolores, after which he leaks all Rehoboam data to each individual in the world, which causes global chaos since people learn that Rehoboam is controlling their lives. Shortly after, Ashley arrives to rescue Bernard, while Martin asks them to look for Serac's secret facilities where he has incarcerated high-risk individuals. Just as Serac's security force arrives, Martin kills himself and several agents by detonating a bomb. In the next scene, Dolores and Caleb are joined by Liam, Ash, and Giggles. With Martin gone, Liam is of no use to Dolores, and Ash uses her pent-up anger about the data held by Rehoboam to fatally shoot Liam. Before dying, he mumbles about Caleb's past, while Caleb remembers some confusing moments from his military life. Just as the plane is about to take off, Dolores calls Serac after going through his records and tells him that she is prepared. In the 6th episode, Serac has one of the board members killed to ensure for his immediate takeover of the company. Serac puts Maeve in the Warworld simulation, where she makes another Maeve body for herself. After she reunites with Hector and Lee, they find out that the copy of Dolores inside Martin is also in this simulation, which leads Dolores to figure out that Maeve is recruiting allies. Back in the real world, Charlotte informs Dolores about Serac taking over Delos while struggling with her identity, but Dolores convinces her to get the data they need. When Serac orders all park hosts to be destroyed, Charlotte quickly makes a host data copy for Dolores and also finds out William's location, as well as the fact that Serac is making 4 new hosts using the host-making machines. She poisons the board and escapes, destroying Hector's core and bringing along Dolores's core. Charlotte then heads home and leaves with her ex-husband Jake and son Nathan, but Serac's men blow up their car. Both Jake and Nathan die instantly, while Charlotte sustains heavy burns. On the other hand, Maeve opens her eyes to a new body, while 2 other host bodies are being processed. Meanwhile, William refuses conventional treatment at the mental institution, so he gets an implant that directly accesses his limbic system, which lets him have augmented reality therapy sessions with his earlier versions. When he kills his other versions and finally decides to be a good guy, he is approached by Bernard and Ashley, after which they escape the facility, which has been mostly abandoned ever since Dolores leaked the Rehoboam profiles. In the next episode, Charlotte contacts Sato to warn him that Dolores is abandoning her copies to die as she does not need them anymore. Just then, Hanario and Clementine, the remanufactured allies of Maeve, show up and kill Sato. On the other hand, Dolores reaches Serac's re-education center in Mexico with Caleb, where they realize that Jean-Mi developed an AI called Solomon before Rehoboam. Simultaneously, Caleb recalls a military mission to Crimea using data tracking systems, where everyone was killed except Caleb and Francis, his friend. Once Solomon is revived, it is revealed that Caleb had been reconditioned by Serac and used to work for him along with Francis after they were both discharged from the military. They used the Rico app to round up other outliers and received pills used by the military for enhanced combat. When they seized another pharmaceutical official, Whitman, who had learned the truth about Rehoboam and Rico, he warned Caleb that Francis would double-cross and kill him on Rico's order. Caleb did not believe him, but when he noticed Francis being distant, he realized Whitman was actually telling him the truth, and then he killed Francis, after which he was reconditioned to forget it. Just then, Maeve arrives at the facility and fights Dolores, who begs Solomon to launch Jean-Mi's plan for the world. Meanwhile, Solomon gives Caleb a device with a strategy about how to kill Serac. Shortly after, Dolores uses an electromagnetic pulse to disable herself, Maeve, and Solomon. In the end, Bernard finds out that Caleb is an outlier, and Dolores will use him to end humanity, while William decides to kill all the hosts. In the last episode, Caleb gets to Los Angeles, where he brings Dolores's host module to a new body. Dolores tells him how she manipulated events so she could meet Caleb, whom she had chosen as a representative of humanity. In a flashback, we learn that Caleb stood up to a soldier trying to rape the hosts, including Dolores, as a part of a military personnel training. Back to the present, Dolores asks him to plant Solomon's control module into Rehoboam at Insight headquarters. In the next scene, Maeve attacks Dolores and retrieves the key for Serac while disabling Dolores's body. Maeve brings her back to Serac, who connects her to Rehoboam and erases her memories when she decides not to give him the host's data. Meanwhile, Caleb reaches Insight with the help of Ash and Giggles through unruly riots. However, he is stopped by Maeve, and Serac shares a Rehoboam prediction that humanity will perish within decades with Solomon's plan, so he orders Caleb to be killed. Maeve realizes that Serac is using a hidden earpiece to speak for Rehoboam. When Dolores's memories are being wiped out, she communicates with Maeve and begs her to save humanity, and this turns Maeve against Serac. Maeve, using her powers, breaks through Serac's behavior inhibitor and shoots him while killing his guards. Since Caleb has full control now, he deletes Rehoboam and leaves along with Maeve. On the other hand, William manages to escape after shooting Ashley while Bernard survives, and they hide in a motel room. He is given an address and a package by Lawrence, recruited earlier by Dolores. When he gets to the address, which is the home of Arnold's widow, the two talk about Charlie's death. This is where Bernard realizes that Dolores gave the key to the Sublime to him because Rehoboam was only delaying the society's collapse, not averting it. Bernard enters into the Sublime to learn what's inside and how to rebuild. In the end, William flies to Delos's headquarters in Dubai to kill the hosts. Before he can succeed, a host dressed like like his Man in Black version slits his throat with Charlotte's help, while several host-making machines activate behind him. Post-credits, we see a dust-covered Bernard wake up in the motel room. With that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching Westworld Season 3. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Welcome, sci-fi fans. Futurist Flicks is thrilled to launch our exclusive membership program designed for loyal fans like you. By joining, you'll unlock early access to recap videos, unseen recap videos, raffle prizes, free merch giveaways, exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights, access to community events, live streams, and Q&A sessions. Join the Cosmic Crew today and get instant access to exclusive perks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intergalactic adventures.